know the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Well, this song, Let It Snow, is very interesting because I say, welcome to my channel, my dear friends out there and all around the world. This is Sweden calling, and honestly, snow seems to be a million miles away. Just a million miles away. It is Saturday, it is grayish, it's soon 3 p.m. and it's almost dark here already, and it will get dark shortly after 3, I'm sure. What else is there to do than to sit around on the sofa, watch a TV show? Currently I'm binging Fargo 2 from my TV show backlist, or write about women's soccer, aka football, or read and make videos and make myself cozy. Well, talking about cozy, this is about crime fiction, this video. The trend of cozy crime is still very strong, and to be quite frank, I do not like it. Crime, that's what I always say, is not cozy. And in this list with 10 interesting crime or thrillers or crime thrillers or novels of 2024, and in this list you will not find authors like Richard Osman, Ali Alexander, V.M. Burns, Alexander McCall Smith, or Rice Bowen, or Colleen O'Connor, M.C. Beaton, or T.A. Kinsey. You have to go to another channel to find these books. But I hope you find something for yourself or for a loved one who loves to read about murder and other bad stuff. Let's do this. All the Colors of the Dark by Chris Whitaker. This is a story of a decades-long search for a missing girl. Young Joseph Macaulay was kidnapped by a sexual predator and locked up in total darkness with a girl called Grace. After he escapes, he devotes his life to finding her. Well, that sounds interesting, doesn't it? The next book is from a very well-known crime writer, Mr. Ian Rankin, and this is called Midnight in Blue from Scotland. The 25th novel. The novel finds retired Detective John Rebus incarcerated in Edinburgh's HMP Salton following events from the previous book, A Heart Full of Headstones. Despite his status as a former cop, Rebus is placed in the general prison population where he confronts old adversaries and navigates the complex prison hierarchy, which is pretty difficult for a cop, I guess. When a fellow inmate is murdered in a locked cell at midnight, Rebus's investigative instincts resurface, compelling him to solve the crime from within. The narrative offers a gripping exploration of prison life and also the enduring quest for justice, even behind bars, behind Swedish bars, probably. The Waiting by Michael Connelly. That's actually a book that I'm currently reading. I'm about 1/3 into it. The story begins with Ballard's badge and gun being stolen, a theft she must handle discreetly to protect her career. Simultaneously, a DNA match links a recent arrestee to the pillowcase rapist, a serial offender dormant for 2 decades. As Renee Ballard navigates departmental politics and legal challenges, she enlists Harry Bosch's assistance. Additionally, Bosch's daughter, Maddie, now a patrol officer, volunteers with the Open Unsolved Unit, and she's bringing new insights into the infamous Black Dahlia case. The novel intertwines these complex investigations, exploring themes of justice, as always, in crime thrillers, and also resilience. I heard a lot of good things about The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, which is set in the Adirondacks during the summer of 1975. The story centers on the sudden disappearance of 13-year-old Barbara Van Laar from her family's summer camp. This tragedy mirrors the earlier loss of her brother Bear, who vanished over a decade prior. As the narrative unfolds, Moore delves into the intricate dynamics of the Van Laar family, surrounding community, exploring themes of privilege, secrecy, and the haunting impact of unresolved grief. Number 4 is by a very well-known writer from Ireland, The Hunter by Tana French. The story follows retired Chicago detective Cal Hooper as he seeks a peaceful life in Ireland, in rural Ireland. However, the return of Trey Reddy's estranged father, Johnny, accompanied by an English millionaire with a scheme to find gold, disrupts the tranquility. Cal, along with his partner Lena, becomes entangled in protecting Trey from the ensuing threats, leading to a suspenseful tale of loyalty, justice, and the complexities of human relationships. Well, we had Ian Rankin, we had Tana French, 2 very well-known authors. The next one I didn't know, Nothing But the Truth by Robin Giegel. This novel seems to be very interesting. It follows transgender criminal defense attorney Erin McCabe as she defends New Jersey State Trooper John Mazer, who's accused of murdering black investigative reporter Russell Marshall. The evidence against Mazer appears overwhelming, including his off-duty weapon as the murder weapon and forensic links to the crime scene. As Erin and her law partner, Duane Swisher, delve deeper, they uncover a covert gang within the state police involved in harassment, framing minorities, and silencing dissenting troopers. The narrative intertwines Erin's personal challenges with a complex legal battle, exploring themes of prejudice, corruption, and the pursuit of justice. The Peacock and the Sparrow by I.S. Barrie. This novel won the Edgar for Best First Novel. It's a gripping spy thriller set against the backdrop of Bahrain during the Arab Spring. The story follows Shane Collins, a seasoned CIA operative nearing retirement who becomes entangled in a dangerous web of espionage, political intrigue, and personal betrayal. Shane is stationed in Bahrain, a country experiencing upheaval as pro-democracy protests challenge the authoritarian regime. While his mission involves monitoring the unrest and maintaining U.S. interests, he becomes increasingly drawn to a mysterious artist named Almaisa, whose connections to the revolutionaries make her both an ally and also a potential threat. As this narrative unfolds, Shane must navigate complex allegiances, questioning his loyalties to the CIA, his personal ethics, and his growing attachment to Almaisa. The story builds on themes of moral ambiguity, the toll of life spent in covert operations, and the human cost of geopolitical conflicts, which is always high, as we know from other conflicts that are unfortunately ongoing all around the world all the time. Darling Girls by Sarah Hepworth. This comes from Australia, also an award-winning novel in Australia. For as long as they can remember, Jessica, Nora, and Alicia have been told how lucky they are. As young girls, they were rescued from family tragedies and raised by a loving foster mother, Miss Fairchild, on an idyllic farming estate and given an elusive second chance at a happy family life. But their childhood wasn't the fairy tale everyone thinks it was. Miss Fairchild had rules. Miss Fairchild could be unpredictable. And Miss Fairchild was never ever to be crossed. In a moment of desperation, the three broke away from Miss Fairchild and they thought they were free. Even though they never saw her again in their lives, she was always present in their memories, in the shadows of their minds. When a body is discovered under the home they grew up in, the foster sisters find themselves thrust into the spotlight as key witnesses of a case. Or are they prime suspects, maybe, because they lived there when they were young? Yeah, it's a thrilling page-turner of sisterhood, of secrets, love, and murder by New York Times best-selling author Sally Hepworth, the winner, as I said, of the Nat Kelly Award in Australia for 2024 for this novel. Under the Storm by Christopher Carlsson from Sweden, translated from the Swedish by Rachel Wilson Broyles. On a cold November night, a farmhouse burns to the ground. Inside, a young woman is found dead, not from the fire, but murdered. To the people in the rural community of Morbäck, this becomes a reference point, a before and after. For 10-year-old Isak Nyqvist, it sets in motion something he cannot control, igniting his future into an unpredictable inferno. My God, what an exciting novel from Sweden. Christopher Carlsson is a professor of criminology. The police focus their attention on Edvard Kristensson, the boyfriend of the murdered woman and Isak's beloved uncle. After a quick investigation, Edvard is found guilty and sentenced to life in prison, and Morbäck believes it can return to its beautiful innocence. Vida Jörgensson, the rookie officer who first responded to the fire, prides himself on helping solve the murder. Little does he know this will become the defining case of his career, and that it will drive him to the brink of professional and also personal disaster, and link his fate to young Isak's. A celebrated author from my home country of Sweden and also a professor of criminology, Christopher Carlsson digs deep into the psyches of ordinary people, and he shows how one crime can haunt a community for decades. A modern classic of Scandinavian crime fiction, this has been called. Under the Storm demonstrates why many regard Carlsson as one of the great crime writers of his generation in Sweden. Point Zero by Seicho Matsumoto, translated from the Japanese by Louis Hill Kawai. A triumph by Seicho Matsumoto, the master of Japanese mystery writing, a beautifully written novel that takes on the taboo of Japanese prostitution catering to GIs during the American post-war occupation. This novel was originally published in 1979. It plays in Tokyo 1958. Teiko marries Kenichi Uehara, 10 years her senior, and an advertising man recommended by an intermediary. After a 4-day honeymoon, Kenichi vanishes. Keito travels to the coastal and snowbound city of Kanazawa, where Kenichi was last seen, to investigate his disappearance. She discovers that he had been a police officer in Tokyo after the war, keeping watch over panpan girls, Japanese prostitutes catering to American GIs. Some of these women have created a new life in Kanazawa and may have taken extreme measures to hide their past. If that doesn't sound interesting, I don't know what should. And these were, I think, the 10 books I wanted to talk about.